So anyways, I'm going to go over some other stuff now, and then we're going to do a Q&A. So, C4L, I felt like was a bit disappointing because it was quite obvious that Poxnor didn't have enough time to plan it. This was kind of obvious from the beginning. And that was actually the reason why I dropped out of it, because I was actually going to go there soonish. Oh, Ray is in the chat. Sweet. And I think that's kind of sad because there's definitely some RPGs that will never be in a GDQ marathon. Yeah, Crystals for Life. It was the RPG marathon. And, you know, I've met Poxnor in person. I met him at HDQ 2012. And he's a very nice person. And I was kind of sad to see how he reacted to all the feedback in C4L. Because pretty much all of the feedback in the C4L feedback topic was really thoughtful criticism. And well-intentioned. Like, there was no malice behind it or anything like that. And he made some posts on Facebook that were not the smartest ones. Like, he said something about people bitching and stuff like that. And it's like, if you think this is bitching, you can have the SGDQ feedback thread. Which is actually something really strange, because HDQ had more serious problems than SGDQ. And then there was much more backlash from the SGDQ feedback, and I don't really know. Yeah, exactly, Mikey. That is true, hee. One of the things that was held at a hotel, and I do know the cost for the hotel because I was in the private thread for that. It was, I think for someone to attend in a 4-person room, including the attendance fee, was about $500, which is roughly 150-200 more than GDQ. Yeah, that could be true, Fiery. But I think what Studio has is I think is probably more accurate. Yeah, exactly. And I was like, wow. And like when I saw those costs, I'm like, wow, this is pretty expensive. And the other thing is that the location is not necessarily convenient for a lot of people, because a lot of the RPG runners are either in America or they're in France. So it was kind of like when we were discussing it, we discussed it a bit at SGDQ, like, you know, kind of the future of RPG marathons, and we all agreed that Essentia's house would be good because, you know, there's not that many people who are going to come, at least not yet. And the cost would be way down. The only thing that the flight would be kind of expensive, because it's a bit expensive to fly out to Salt Lake City. But, you know, the actual housing and rooming costs and the food costs would be down. Yeah, probably Europe in general, Stinger. But I see it especially in France. And so the thing about Poxnor is that he was going to law school, and he was trying to find a job. And the thing about law school is that doesn't leave a lot of time for other stuff. And which is fine, but if you can't really admit to it and like pass on the work to other people, then, you know, your marathon's going to suffer a bit for it. And the thing about C4L, it was plenty watchable as an event, but I felt like it could have been a lot more. So that's why I'm glad that there are people taking up the helm for the RPG marathon. And it'll be a nice little intimate event at like Essentia's place, because I think making it more intimate is better for an RPG marathon, because you're not going to have the crowd you are at a GDQ. Like, you know, RPGs are more, you know, they definitely have a very dedicated viewership, but, you know, you're not going to get as many viewers as, let's say, Super Metroid or a Zelda game or Mario or something like that. So just kind of having a more quiet or homey atmosphere would work well. Yeah, exactly, What exactly, Murph? When's Nova Marathon? I don't know. When is it? And I don't know. So it's sad what happened to C4L, but at the same time, it's kind of what needed to happen because Poxnor is very sensitive when it comes to criticism. Yeah, that was really silly. And, like, here's the thing. It's pretty well known that UA does not like Twitch chat, but even he thought that was a bad idea for C4L. And RomScout even had a statistic that, like, chat is the stickiest thing on Twitch. Like, it is the thing that will engage people the most and make people stay for a stream. It's something like an 80% retention rate. So if you take out chat, you're taking out a lot of viewers. And to be honest, I was in the Twitch chat for C4L, and it was pretty calm. Like, there were maybe like one or two stupid moments, but it was pretty easy to communicate. You know, it wasn't like GDQ face spam or whatever it is. So it is what it is. It would be at Essentia's house, BroBuzz. But yeah, it is kind of sad what happened to C4L, but at the same time, I'm glad that people are taking the reins and that it's going to have a good future. Yeah, that was Derek Highwind. That's all that it needed. I mean, it says a lot when the 2013 C4L had it was the 2014 C4L, like this year's, had a lower average viewer count than the 2013 C4L. Like, it was very under-promoted and that sort of thing. But I'm glad that there are people who are willing to put in the time for it now. So, I think it'll have a good future. So ESA, I thought ESA was pretty good. They had good layouts. There were a couple of problems with the layouts, but I'll admit they were better than the GDQ layouts in general. If I had two complaints about them, the common one, the 4-way race layout, that would have been so much easier if they just put the text in the corners. That was a pretty big oversight. And they didn't have the charity logo when there was nothing going on the top left, which I found really strange. And this is kind of picky, but if you're using an IPS monitor, which is, has better, better color, the layouts were actually too dark. Like, it was actually almost looked black. But on most monitors, it looked fine. One ESA layout made bad. I'm sure some of our layouts made it to bad layouts too. I know Sweetie T sent one to bad layouts. But yeah. But I feel like ESA has a focus problem because I feel like it's not quite a charity marathon and it's more of a hangout, but they still have the charity there. And I know Edinal, I read his post and he's like, we're still going to keep the charity on, but I just feel like it'd do better if it was just a hangout. And I mostly agree with Cool Maddie's points in that, although he shouldn't have mentioned the amount raised. I probably would have done that too, but that's not really the point. The point is more that it seemed like when people were mentioning donations and stuff for ESA, it wasn't really a part of the event or integral. It was kind of more of a side thing or even annoying. And there were even some posts from people who were doing donation reading, like Tompa, who are like, I'd rather not bother with the charity. And, if the donation readers are like that, then it's kind of like, well, why would you... it's like, why really bother with charity? Now, if there's no charity in it, then I guess the question is, what's the focus? But I think that's kind of always been the issue. What's the focus? But I feel like they'd just be better off not really focusing on charity and focusing it more as a community event or a hangout or something like that. Chrono 2000, I have no clue. Yeah, actually, Murph, their 4-way race layout, the screens were a little bit too small, but yeah, definitely could have been more sensible, but yeah. The other thing about ESA, which was really strange, was that I remember last year's ESA being really good and fast about setup. And like I was impressed with how fast their setup was. And this year's ESA was really bad about setup. I remember the Strider race in the last day, because hanging out with Sinister One, he wanted to watch a bunch of the NES games. And I wanted to too. And the Strider race, the setup was almost 10 times as long as the race itself, because it's about a 5-minute game, and the setup was nearly 40 minutes. I agree with that, Murph. Yeah, Carpet Crawler. It took me a while to figure out that it was color-coded. Rambling Josh, I heard that they had to move TVs around because there was a lack of TVs and PCs. Yeah, that's the thing, and I think it'd be better off if it just emphasized that it was more of a hangout. Like, I think it's better off if it's that way, just so because that's more their spirit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like they should emphasize that more, rather than being halfway between a hangout and a charity event. Yeah. Well, GDQs are still a hangout for a lot of people, but yeah, it's definitely different than what it used to be. And yeah, I think part of it was that the resources were divided on the second stream. To be honest, if there was one thing that impressed me about the second stream, is that they kept it running consistently. Because I didn't think it would actually run consistently. Let's set up a watermelon. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of the second stream idea, at least not for a GDQ, just because for a GDQ, you know, you really want to be focused on this one run, and this is like the one run's chance to shine. Yeah, Cherno. I know Adam AK wasn't big about it. I saw his post. Hitbox. Yeah, if we had a second stream, it would probably be not speedrunning content, just so it wouldn't really conflict with like interviews and stuff like that, just so it wouldn't really conflict with what's going on the second stream. Because the other thing about ESA is that it had the split tracker, which I understand, but I don't think that worked out so hot. But I'm not really a big fan of the second stream idea right now for a GDQ. GDQ third stream and you stream. And then fourth stream a Nico video. I'll answer that in the Q&A, Danny. But yeah, I just feel like if ESA focused a bit more. I mean, I guess that's true, Leonardo, but I know that ESA might be thinking about increasing their attendance costs. And I know it's already 50 euros to attend, which is rough. Which I remember doing going to exchange rate calculator, and that's about $67 or $68. So it's not that much cheaper than HDQ. And I think if they increase the cost, they get a lot of complaints. And I think Ludendi is recognized as a non-profit, so it might be better if the donations just go towards upkeep of the event. I don't know. It's something to think about, because it's very hard to not to be about the charity stuff and not be about it. Okay, yeah. So it's about that much. But yeah. The other problem with ESA is that it did seem kind of dead in the room at times. And I don't know if that's because it's their second language or just being more reserved. And I know that we, at GDQs, we also have problems with, like, sometimes runs being a little dead at times. But I felt like it was a consistent problem with ESA. And there were definitely runs with good energy, like the Mega Man race had good energy. A lot of the stuff on the final day with the NES games had good energy, but a lot of it just felt a bit lacking in energy. But wait, oh, the mass housing is £15 for the whole event. Okay, that I didn't know about. Yeah, there's not going to be a second stream for AGDQ 2015. Yeah, Rambling Josh, maybe that's true. I was looking at the website, Ednull. It said 25 euros for one day and 50 for multiple days. I thought that's what it said. If I'm wrong, then feel free to correct me, but if I look at the website right now, I'm pretty sure that's what it said. That is pretty amazing, but there's no way we can get housing like that for a GDQ. Okay, I didn't know that about ESA, so I stand corrected. Yeah, I heard about no AC, which sounds awful. FAQ. I think it's an FAQ. Yeah, that's what it says on the FAQ. Go to the bottom. That's where I got my information from. Yeah. That's actually really weird that it was hot as hell in Scandinavia, because usually it's not hot at all in Scandinavia. I've been there before during the summer. Yeah, that's a bit more comparable to staying at the 4-H Center, but I mean, when you get bigger, you need bigger venues, and yeah, there's no real thing like mass housing like there is. That wouldn't really work out for GDQ. Yeah, SGDQ was too much AC, say not enough, exactly. But yeah, I just feel like if ESA focuses its goals more, then it can do really well. The Hunt Valley Inn might be good, Miles. It's kind of between those two. I mean, the Sheraton's pretty good too. The problem is the ballroom's kind of small, and it wouldn't have much room to grow. So yeah. Anyway, it seemed to do pretty well, and everyone seemed to have fun there, and that's the important part. I feel like that's the most important part about ESA rather than raising the money. So that's my thoughts on it. And so Twitch and Hitbox. So I think Miles summed this up best. So remember when everyone moved to Hitbox, and remember how they moved back to Twitch, or most of them moved back to Twitch? Yeah. I mean, I'll agree that how Twitch handled it was kind of stupid, but I actually talked to Justin Wong at Twitch, who is not the fighting game Justin Wong, FYI. He mentioned how because Twitch was mentioned in that article, saying that Google was going to buy them out, that put a lot more attention on Twitch. And they were already going to have a copyright system because, to be honest, the bigger you get, the more noticed you are going to get by copyright lawyers, and the RIAA and the MPAA, music and movies, have way more money than Twitch and would gladly sue the shit out of Twitch and anyone who streams on there. Yeah, I think a lot of people keep Hitbox as a side stream. Ah, okay. Yeah, it definitely makes sense as a side stream. So because Twitch got more notice, they had to kind of like rush their copyright, their copyright detection scheme, and so that's why I was kind of so ham-fisted. I can definitely understand why Twitch would do that, because they don't want to get their asses sued. And honestly, if that happened to like one of their bigger streamers, even their bigger streamers who make a lot of money, $250,000 is a lot for most people. Yes, it's holding up better than Hash did during that Twitch outage. Oh, is Hash still around? Um, but yeah. Now the 2-hour VOD thing, we didn't understand. They gave us a statistic that 97% of VODs were under 2 hours, and then we're like, okay, but that doesn't explain why they have to be 2 hours now. And he said it's so that people don't like save their entire stream as a highlight, but people do that anyways. They'll just do it in 2-hour chunks if they feel like trolling or being like assholes or just want to save their entire stream anyway. So that's not really a solution to the problem. The only solution would be just more heavy-handed about it and be like, okay, look, you only have this much you can highlight, this much time. And the thing about Hitbox is that a lot of the things that are good about it, like the low chat delay, would be if it ever gets bigger or as big as Twitch, they'd have to kill off the low chat delay because RTMP just doesn't scale up. Oh yeah, that's true, Miles the Wolfman. That is true. I thought it was a technical reason at first, actually. But yeah, I agree with Josh that people keep Hitbox as a side stream. That being said, I stand by my statement that Hitbox would shit itself within about 5 seconds of a GDQ being streamed. It's like Miles said, remember when we used Chip-In and that died during 2013? Yeah, it'd be like that. There's really not much to say about it. Hitbox does not have the resources or the back end that we need for a GDQ, and there's too many followers on the Twitch channel anyway. Anyways, Twitch fixed the bigger problems with their whole scheme anyways, so it's better now. I mean, there's no more 2-hour limit on highlights, and I think a lot of the copyright stuff got sorted out, but I'm not 100% sure. Lenaru, yes, YouTube can support more than 2 hours of video, but it's some Twitch limitation for the upload. I don't know what for the export. Oh, the other thing about the whole like deleting highlights and stuff, it's because Twitch is running out of hard drive space. I'm not even 100% sure they'd have the resources or money to do that. No, porn sites could hold up a GDQ, yes. RedTube and YouPorn, let's go. No. Yeah, because Nintendo is kind of insane about copyright. So yeah, all that stuff is copyrighted, Darkwing Duck. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing about Hitbox is that I think it's good at side stream stuff, but it's not good for like larger streams.